This is Life Converse, where we talk about life matters. And as usual, my name is Joseph Ayoma, and with me is always
Brayo Hapa.
Yeah. Brian. And you know what Brians can do?
Don't. It's never that serious. So. just know that it's never that serious.
No, Brian. When we were talking last time, there is something which came out when we were talking the other day. I don't know what your take is on this. The urban, the rural-urban migration. And you remember you talked about something which is very, very crucial. That the population is growing so much.
Yes.
You said like the population in the urban is growing too fast.
So
at daytime, at night, and there is an entire growth in there is a very big growth in the entire globe. Yes, the population is growing very rapid.
Yeah.
And mainly in Africa. Now, when the population is growing this much, I think the human, you see, for us to have the life balance, the survival for the fittest, or the fittest to survive, we must have some nature coming up.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I think I'll start with the urban migration thing, rural to urban migration thing. Because you find why are guys moving to the urban centers, or why are guys moving to the cities from the rural? This clearly shows that in the urban areas, it's where there is opportunities for growth.
Opportunities.
Yes. There are so many, especially in the urban cities.
So people should be just moving from the rural to the urban.
Yeah. So not really, because what if these opportunities, we try and spread them all over
to the rural areas?
Yes, everywhere. To the urban, to other cities, because I believe if these opportunities are decentralized, not centralized to one place, if they're decentralized, these opportunities will be everywhere. So it doesn't mean that someone has to move from his rural home, his or her rural home, to come to the urban cities, so as to meet the expectations about their career growth, self-development, and such things as this. So if we try to spread these opportunities, it will really help a lot.
How should you see? I think the opportunity, when we actually talk about the opportunity, there are opportunities.
Yes.
But the human themselves, the human being, the people, the man, the woman, and those who are supposed to bring this opportunity to where it's supposed to be, are the ones who are greedy. So the human greediness, when it comes to creating the opportunity, is something which is in the next level.
I think matters to do with greed. I think that is a personal thing, because yes, someone can be greedy.
Yes.
In terms of sometimes nowadays, especially the term greed or the character greed has spread to other people who are not greed. Because of circumstances. Because you're in a place where you don't have the power to reject or accept, so you just have to go with the flow. People are indulging into corruption. You don't have an option. You find yourself indulging into corruption. So if you try, that one person or that group of people who are really trying as much as hard to better the lives of others, if they can try to push it as hard as they can, you can be able to address this greed. Because it is denying opportunities to go to
spread across the entire globe.
Yes, because if you take a good example, like the Huduma Center.
That's Huduma Center for the government.
Yes, for the government. A very nice idea. Nowadays, you can see someone doesn't have to travel all the way from the rural to Nairobi to the Nairobi for government services. Huduma centers have been placed in different cities
in different towns, in different cities
around the country. So it has really helped that much
to bring the services, the government services,
down to one.
You see, when you talk about the opportunity and the services, these ones are two different things. Now, like for example, what brings people to the urban centers? Remember last time we talked about the industrialization coming into play in the urban center. So this make people to come to look for basically the job.
Okay.
So it is the job which brings people to the urban center.
And that's what I'm saying. You see, like opportunities now. I'm using Huduma Center as an example.
Also, when Huduma Center as a service.
Yes, as a service.
Yes.
You see, it was able to employ people
within that rural.
Yes.
Within that. That is true. That is very true.
So even schools, universities, colleges.
Universities, school, colleges,
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah, if the status,
hospitals,
everything. If the status of the hospitals in Nairobi, like
Yes.
let's say example, Kenyatta, Nairobi Hospital.
Yes.
If they're able to open up in different places in this country, we can be able to see these opportunities being opened to people who are in the rural areas, and even to develop. Let's say someone in the rural areas, they work for a certain organization or a certain institution in the rural areas, they're able to earn something. So if they earn something, they can be able to develop their homes.
But now you see, even if these services are taken to rural, still the population at the rural will increase. So my actually my concern was how is the population supposed to be? Should we suppress the growth, or what should we do to the overgrowing population of humanity global wise? Now, but if you look at it keenly, you will realize that it is basically in Africa where the population is growing. It is basically in African continent and the Asian continent where the population is growing very fast because of the youthful nature or of the youth, because of the youthful population which is in these continents. If you go to, for example, in Europe, the youths are very few. So they are suffering from old age. But now the Africans and the other continent who are still growing, what can be done? What can the human themselves do to ensure that this population is controlled, this population is somehow made to the extent whereby it can still survive within the given ecosystem without exhausting the resources which are available?
I think I'll take a good example like China.
Yes.
China, they're the most populated country in the world.
Do you know in China, they eat everything? Which is now another problem. You see, now that's also another issue.
Okay.
You eat crocodile, you eat snake, you eat frog, you eat all those things, which some of them can even be poisonous. Eating a bat, something like a bat.
They're depleting their own resources.
Yeah, because it means the resources have been depleted by the overgrowing population.
I will say, you see, like China. Okay, China now. That's a different. With China, that's a different one with Africa.
Yes,
because in Africa we have failed in managing our population.
But China, what about China, for example?
China, you know, now that's a different one because
are they managing their population?
They're trying to manage it, but they're managing it by way of. You see, like they had a policy, like a family, you should only give birth to one child. One child.
But still, the population grows. There is an issue with the life, with the humanity, with the life for the human, because it looks like the ecosystem which they were naturally given is being exhausted. You see, if you talk, for example, like Africa, they have not been able to use their resources exhaustively. But you will find out that African countries, some of them are suffering from hunger. And when they suffer from hunger, it is not because they do not have food. It is because the food which is there cannot sustain the entire population.
But do you think we've really exhausted our land so that it can feed the whole nation?
I don't think. Maybe nature is cruel on them, on the African continent, because it is in Africa where we have got the biggest, how do you call it, the semi-arid and arid areas. So it means they don't get the water to do agriculture.
But for me, I think I'll disagree with that one.
Okay.
Because first I'll start with the comparison with China and Africa. China, you know, for them, I think they made the environment so conducive.
How?
Like if you go to China, they have parks are there.
Or the environment itself is very conducive.
What now happened is that people, that's the work of nature, the work of human beings.
Yes.
People gave birth to people. People give birth to people, and the population grew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a different one because now they are addressing population.
Yes.
But for us, we're addressing the population pressure on a small piece of land.
We are okay. So it means the African continent is small to contain the ever-growing population, right?
Not even small. Like we are not utilizing our resources well.
Or like the natural resources to talk about
we are not utilizing it well. A good example is, I think, with the lands that we have in Kenya, we can be able to change those lands into irrigation schemes to be able to supply water to farms, and farms will be able to grow so that they're able to provide food for the population that is ever growing. Because if you take in some places, Nairobi has a lot of people. It has a lot. It's even overcrowded in some way. But if you take a good example, if we try to open up rural areas, if you try to open up these lands which we say it's arid, places like Tana River, it has been proven there's the Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme. It is working.
That is in Kenya.
That is in Kenya. It is working, but let's do it maybe in some places in Turkana, in Pokot. Why are we not exploring these areas to be able to do the
agricultural activities?
We'll be able to provide food for the whole nation, and even it will be able to provide employment to people who are living there. We'll be able to create, even schools will be open there. So it's us who are not.
Also, it means it is the Africans.
Yes,
and that's why I was telling you the greed. You see, the human, the human has got the capability of opening up these things, but they are not doing it. Now, maybe before even we talk about this kind of resources, how is there a way in which this population can be controlled? I don't think there should be a way.
There are two ways to it. Population can be controlled. First, number one, population controlling population. You can do it in that. Let's say a good example in Africa. We can control population in opening up opportunities in other urban areas. Two, population can be controlled
by opening opportunities to rural areas.
So that we avoid
people spread.
People spread. We avoid that need of having the capital city as
every.
So let's have these administrative duties be taken to other rural areas.
Like, for example, even parliament being taken to a place like northeastern in Isiolo somewhere.
You can have even the Senate sometimes being taken to another different place. We can have maybe
State House,
the immigration, State House, the immigration department being taken to another county.
They get spread all over the country, so that each and every county can also, each and every part of the county can also feel the effects of having the government services around.
We can even have that pride that truly we belong, because we are hosting a government, an important government service that serves the whole nation.
So that is the best way to control the population. The ever-growing population. Now,
not ever-growing. That is the population pressure being controlled, being centered on one place.
On one area. But you see,
now the second way, before you say something, the second way we can control population pressure is whereby, like China, for example, the way now
they control birth.
So we can sensitize families by, I think there's a family planning methods they can use
to control the population. I don't advocate for family planning. You see, there is the human. We talk about the human, but before I come to this, on my that is my own opinion actually. You see, the nature was created. You remember we talked about food chain and food web. Look at how animals survive. Look at how animals give birth. Animal give birth with a season. You see, human being can also give birth with a season.
Continue.
The way human beings were made, remember, human beings are also animals. They are grouped in the category of animal. Animals do not just give birth anyhow. Are you understanding?
So human beings.
Yes.
Human beings give birth.
What changed the human mind or the human nature of giving birth is the environmental factors and the human making factors which were created by human beings themselves. This thing came from food. This thing came from health, medication, and things like that. And you see, these ones were human being making. They were not supposed, they were not supposed to be there naturally. Right now, you will find out that a woman who is supposed to give birth can give birth which are not even natural birth.
Okay.
Are you understanding?
Uh-huh.
This is my own view of how I'm looking at this thing. Before, a woman can give birth up to very many children. And you see, it was made such a way that the environment where the human being lives, that is where they were supposed to populate. They were supposed to make, remember, if you look at biblically, on the Christian side, human being was supposed to grow and recreate and to continue with the creation.
And fill the
so
earth.
Giving birth was a natural thing. For example, biologically, they say a woman will reach menopause at what?
Biblically?
No, scientifically. Biologically.
I think
45?
biologically 40,
45.
45, yeah.
So if the woman or if the human could have not interfered with that cycle of giving birth, then it means it will reach a point whereby now a woman cannot do what?
Cannot give birth.
Give birth. And a man cannot now even also give birth. But due to the factors which have been created by the human being, that is why we are having these things. Like, for example, what we are saying about the family planning. If you look at how it biologically interferes with the God-made nature of the human,
natural way.
The natural way of the human behavior or the woman behavior. It interferes completely. So it is the human with whom are now planning on how to depopulate their fellow human. Is that even possible? If you look at the food web and the food chain, there is a way in which we eat, things eat themselves to the extent whereby one get extinct completely. They disappeared.
Okay.
But again, the same environment where they live, there is a way in which they can survive that. So if you look at that kind of ecosystem, it is the human being who are on the top. So right now, human beings want to depopulate.
Yeah, because we are too many
themselves.
The resources present can't accommodate all of us.
But that one should not make you to depopulating human being. Death was supposed to be natural occurrence after sin, biblically. Are you getting me?
Okay.
That's my own opinion. Death was supposed to be
a natural
occurrence, just like being born.
Okay.
You see? And what was supposed to expose human beings to this death was the environmental factors.
Regarding environmental factors, how did you reach at a place where we want to depopulate human?
Because the human now want to behave like they can create nature. Are you getting? Like, I just now decide that I'm going to come up with something which I want to test on human beings. You see, like, for example, let me give you a very good example with the animals.
Okay.
There are certain type of elephants which were existing before, but they got extinct. Why? It is because the human were trying to do what? To, how do you call it? Poach these elephants.
Poaching on them.
Yes, killing them. Now, for example, I told you the other time, we have got the animal kingdom, how they operate.
Yes.
They don't just procreate anyhow.
But do you say so now? Humans, do they just procreate anyhow?
Yes. That is what is happening. If only the population was supposed to be controlled, it is supposed to be controlled naturally through what is referred to as, how could I call it? I can call it season. Just like the way animals give birth during a given season.
So the human beings also, we say there will be a time for giving birth.
Yes. Actually, not even a time for giving birth, a time for being pregnant.
But what do you say about age? Because you see, at a certain point, you know, people are different. People, you can't get pregnant, all women at the same time, because this is a season for getting pregnant. Because people have experienced different phases in their life. Someone is maybe at her peak of a career, and she doesn't want to give birth at this time.
Now that is the human making. Are you getting me?
I'm making now.
That is now the human making. But it is now the mindset. It is now the mindset. You see, the purpose of or of populate is to increase, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by the moment, actually, if you look around, God, or if I can say God or science has given us lots of natural resources, which is enough to sustain all the human beings. So there should be no any agenda whatsoever to depopulate the human beings.
But you know, as human beings, people are different. We can't think the same. And that's why I was telling you, it is the issue of greed. People who want to explore things and keep for themselves.
Yes.
Is what has brought all this. So
human making.
Yes. So in terms of maybe you're saying you should do things in a season, it's really like fixing people in a certain cage that they can't come out because
Actually,
you are restricting them.
Not fixing. I want you to look, for example, cows. If you have how do you call it, a herd of cattle,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You have a bull, or you have bulls there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you have calves. Now, when the calves are growing, it reaches a moment, it reaches a certain peak or a certain season when now the bull will just sense that there is this calf which needs to mate.
Okay.
So it was mating. It was supposed to be mating.
Okay.
Are you getting? So when that period, when that season for mating comes, it is just by natural. But you see the human making now came and make the mating thing to be look like it is something which you can just do in a way which befits
in a controlled manner.
Yeah, actually they don't even control it. What they want now to control is what they created, that is just mating anyhow and giving birth to avoid now getting pregnant.
So for me, I think I'll stick with her. It's because of just a few characters who are powerful, who are I don't know, who are really trying to fight all these things. Because with, let's say, a good example is way back, our forefathers. They used to live naturally on their own without any disturbance, thinking for themselves. They used to live just a good life. But now the issue is, I think, with modernization. Modernization came with a lot of complications.
It is the modernization we're talking about which wants to lead to this depopulation. Now, you can imagine, sometimes I ask myself, how about if the entire population is killed and everybody die? What will happen? Guess what?
The nature itself will also die.
The nature won't die.
Really?
The nature won't die. Things will now start sprouting like this. Buildings will wither bit by bit. And with time, they will collapse. Trees will grow. Animals will be jumping in and out of all the natural vegetations which shall have grown by that time. It will take time for this to happen. Roads, all these things like roads. Or plants will start growing on the roads, where the roads are. This kind of global warming industries and all these things will not be there because those ones are the human doing.
Okay.
If you just try to even pick it from the biblical story of Garden of Eden and look at how that was.
Okay.
Were there houses?
No, they were not.
But they were just living within that Eden, and it was only full of plants. Look at the fruits. I am very much convinced right now that the human making has resulted into even losing several fruits, natural fruits, which the human being was supposed to survive on.
Okay. And I now get maybe the cause of all these things.
Yes.
I think the cause of this thing is sin.
Sin?
Because if you take a good example of Garden of Eden,
yes,
they were even naked, by the way.
You see?
Yeah, and there was nothing. Even God commanded Adam to name all the animals, of which he did. He commanded him to name all the plants, which he did, and commanded him together with his wife Eve to dominate the earth. So I think when they sinned is when also they realized they're naked. They were chased off the Garden of Eden. Things started being cruel to them.
That was the purpose of God.
Yeah.
But now when we look at it on a different, the current human agenda of depopulating the entire globe and basically targeting Africa. You see, Brian, we talk about depopulating.
Yes.
We talk about the human making. If you look at before, the modernization, the westernization of the African, the Asian, basically I will talk about the African countries.
Yes.
Before the westernization and things like that, the way even medication was being done was very different.
Traditional.
Traditional. And if you look at the mortality rate, then it was not that too much. Now you will find out that a young lady who was not even reached her teenage is already on family planning. Do you think by the moment the lady reaches some certain season, what is going to happen? The changes in the body functioning, the changes of things like that. So the agenda of depopulating and controlling the population of the humanity is a very wrong agenda.
But now we are overpopulated.
Yes.
Now what should we do from here? Because the population that grows each and every day, the resources are being depleted bit by bit.
Whatever is happening, whether the population is growing or not growing, the science of natural selection should take its place.
Okay.
The human will just die when their time comes to die. Okay. There is no need to kill a fellow human being before their time arrives.
So it is us who has made things turn against
us. It is the humanity. It is the human who are making the life of another human unbearable in the name of depopulation agenda.
So guys, what do you think? You can comment, put your suggestion. Is it by our own doing that the nature is fighting us? Because for me, I think we have reached at a point whereby we messed up.
We messed up. Who created that mess up? The human.
Yes, us. We messed up.
In the living phase of living, the human wants to live to the extent to extent of making another person not to live. What is that?
Yeah. So now, how do we go forward on this one? Because now this population, we have to address it. We have to address it.
The population, the ever-growing population.
Yes, and you know resources are depleting.
Look at it. Look at it. Right now, the human making has created what is enough to continuously, in a systematic way, reduce the population in the name of food, in the name of health, in the name of education, in the name of each and everything which is happening. It means the human mind is working around the clock, just trying to find on how to make the human big. Sometimes I was just saying, if I was having that power to ensure that everybody just die and then we have a new globe, a new earth, a new everything, and then you start seeing how things will work. The natural resources you are talking about are enough. Why do we have water bodies? Why do we have lakes? Why do we have rivers? Look at the way rivers flow. When a river, how will a river flow? It will find its path slowly by slowly until to the ocean or to the lake. It will not go and try to find where the path is not going. And that is the path the human being also are supposed to follow. You just find your path in the society, survive. Whatever you are saying, the resources are depleting. They are depleting because of the creation of human.
So the humanity complex in a way that humans being creative, it has brought all this mess.
It has brought all this mess.
So and that's why I'm asking, how do we solve this one now?
The only way to solve it is to keep silent and leave it to the nature to make it work. There is no day.
But you can't watch people die.
You see, this human nature wants to keep all the resources for themselves. And that's why we are talking about the greediness. We are talking about corruption. We are talking about selfishness. Are you getting me?
Yeah,
So when we talk about all these things, so long as these things are still there, the agenda for depopulating, for killing a fellow human being, for you to survive, is still existing.
I think that is competition. Survival for the fittest.
But when we talk about survival for the fittest, it does not mean you kill the other person. What it means, you get what is enough for you to live.
I think for me, it's being fair.
Yeah.
I think that be it's because if survival is for the fittest, what will happen to those who are not fit?
That is why we talk about survival for the fittest.
Now,
So it means those who are not fitting are not the ones who are going to live on the ecosystem, but not by you who is fit killing them. You getting me? If you kill them, are you fit to kill them, or you are fit to grab the resources, get what is enough for you?
Okay.
For example, you go to a mango tree. You climb up the mango tree, you pluck the ones which are enough for you, then you drop down. Not that you go and grab everything. Grab everything. You know, the lion example I gave you. When a lion has already gotten enough catch,
Yes,
they will eat, get satisfied, and stay until
it feels hungry again.
It feels angry again. Even when a lion is angry, when a lion is not angry, even if an antelope passes nearby, they won't chase.
You are sure?
They won't chase.
Because as for me, I think, human beings, those are animals now. Now let's talk about the Homo sapiens sapien.
Homo sapiens sapien is also an animal. Remember that.
But now the difference is, let's say a human being goes to the mango tree. I'm sure he will be able to pluck all for himself. Because nowadays, survival is for the fittest.
Greediness.
We have changed a lot.
The survival for the fittest, as much as in connection to the depopulation agenda, is not fit. Is not good.
Okay, now maybe you can give a solution of how to go about it. Because now we are too many of us. Resources are being depleted. Nature cannot serve all of us.
If I'm living on this earth and I have enough resources to make me live, I should not use the resources I have to make others suffer.
But in as much as how do you try to do it, trust me, you have to step on some people.
So it is only a question of, are you the one who has got the enough resources which can make you survive? Then are you using the resources which you have to make the other person suffer? That is not the way the life is supposed to be. Life canvas, we are supposed to live life in a favorable manner. If you have already gotten enough resources to help you survive the life, then stay knowing that you are waiting for the last survival stage of life. And that is what? Death.
Okay, for me, I'll say, depopulation in some way has to happen, but not in a way that it's the normal way. What needs to be done? Let's explore the whole world. Let's explore it in full, because I'm sure there's some places land is bare. Yeah. So let us explore all this population that you're saying it's full, like we can't exploit.
Yes.
Let us use all our available resources
to go there.
Yeah, to go there, establish survival.
For other people. Let's go to the deserts.
Yes.
Try to explore with the resources now you have, the money and everything you have.
Yes.
Let us go and use that one now to find, can we find a life here?
Yes.
Because that is what life canvas is all about. Can we find a life somewhere here?
And since you have done that, maybe in case of population growth, if let's say it teaches us at a place where we are too many of us that we can't accommodate each other, maybe a lot of sensitization needs to be made on maybe how to survive, on how the number of kids you should have. Maybe the China way.
No. We don't need to control the number of children.
Let people give birth the way
Let
they want.
people give birth the way nature made it to be. The only thing is those who are surviving. Those who are surviving, let's expand our resources. The world is so big. The world is so humongous. It is so huge. It is so wide. We cannot exhaust each and every part of this world. And let's embrace each other. I'm not supposed to use all the resources I have to depopulate another person by killing them when their time has not yet reached. And for your information, what you need to know is that when we have 30 people being born, there is another equivalent amount doing what? Dying. Because each and every single human being die.
Okay. And the nature of them dying.
Yes.
So does it prove that's the forces of nature.
That is it. But now it separates when it comes to somebody else initiating that death through medication, through food, through what is called maybe things which are not supposed to be. Yes. Okay. For example, right now I just decide and make for you medicine, which I know if you take it, you will die.
Okay.
You see, in the world right now, there are places whereby now we have got hotels which have been just made specifically for you to go and die there, to commit suicide.
Is it proved like you can commit suicide without any, because committing suicide is a crime?
Yeah, they are allowed to commit suicide. There are parts in the world where you are allowed to commit suicide because it means nobody cares.
So who cares? You justifying depopulating through coercing, committing suicide by being coerced.
Yes, by being coerced, by being given that platform that I am going to do what? To commit suicide. So nobody will want to stop you from committing that suicide. Okay. Why? Because they want you to die.
Okay. I think maybe this discussion is open for a lot.
Very many things.
Because it involves a lot. But the point that you mentioned, I think it's an important one, especially matters regarding let people let us what's that word that you said? Because the world is so humongous.
The world is so big.
So let us explore everywhere. For me, I'll stick to that. Let us, because we have not yet.
Yes.
We are still hooked to this same place for quite some time, and yet we're living bare land unused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us go with our resources. Let's go to the parts which have not been exploited. We try, if there are no animals living there, because I will not want us to encroach places which are meant for
animals,
wild animals.
But you know, where people move, animals also follow. So maybe if they're setting up for survival, they can also set up for animals. Yeah.
Maybe it was even made that human beings are supposed to be eaten by hyenas, leopards.
Okay.
Like if a human being dies, you are the same as a dead dog. There is no different. It means both of you have died. So it means that is a natural selection. That is something which is natural. But not initiated by a human being. Maybe, Brian, as we are coming to an end with this, I can only conclude that what I can say is that if anybody who is listening to this or who is watching this, you have got enough resources to the extent whereby you are feeling like you need to start doing what is called human elimination through the depopulation agenda for the humanity. That is not a good cause. Let's use all the resources which we have, because life canvas involves around everyone enjoying the resources which we were naturally given, and then we live to see our death.
Okay. As for me, I still continue to encourage, try in as much as you can, you for your own personal well-being, conserve water, conserve your environment, picking up litter. Don't just have a measure of how you can just be helpful to this environment, because it takes only one for the environment just to at least to thrive well. Because if you do that, and also you also encourage others who are around you, all of us will be able to make this environment very much conducive for all of us to live in, because it is by our own pollution we have made this environment so unsuitable for us to live in.
Thank you guys for watching, and thank you very much for listening. This is Life Canvas, where we talk about all matters around life. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, please, thank you very much for coming, for tuning in again. And if you have not turned on the notification bell, please do it, so that whenever we post new conversation and new videos like this, you will be able to catch up with us. Tell us in the comment what you think about the depopulation agenda of eliminating humanity. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
See you on the next one.